Welcome to Bitter Reality Brewing. This is the top 10 tips, recommendations, hacks, suggestions, whatever you want to call it. Don't forget, like, subscribe. Thank you again for the support. It's been huge. Really quick, before we get into all top 10, I left a beer standing out and someone's like, ooh, you should do something like, and agreed. I do some reviews on beers. I haven't done any in a long time on bitterrealitybrewing.com, but I figured I would at least let you see this since it's the holidays. When you're watching this video, I'll be in Jamaica. So, be leaving tomorrow. Some of the beers I've enjoyed recently, some of them were limited to the holidays. Saw some people looking for that one out there. Just tried this one. It's really good, but super, almost a milkshake type thing, even though no lactose. It's very hazy. Got some the hemp coming out from Terrapin. These are cold, I haven't drank them yet. Sorry, Bells, this is good, but I like the Two Hearted better, of course. Celebration. And somebody mentioned something about drinking old beer. It's a KBS from Founders from 2015. I have, I believe, 2 left. The 2014s are gone. I keep them in the very bottom of my fridge, ice cold, and gotta get it back there quick because I'm not looking to drink it right now. And then this is also from 2015. It's a gift for my son. It's actually a sour in the rye, as they call it. And never tried it, hoping he'll let me have a little sip. I'm not a huge sour fan. We are going to do a couple sours this coming year in 2021. But I just kind of wanted to mention, you know, if you want to glance at the video, look at some of the stuff that, and yeah, I like my bitter. I definitely like my bitter, and normally I like the lower ABV, like this Mosaic's only 5.5, but during the winter they seem to crank the ABVs up just kind of like I do on some, not always intentional, but it is what it is. So let's get right into it. Ginger hack. Number 1, ginger hack. People are like, what? Ginger hack? Yeah, I like to put abbreviations in my head to remember. But what I learned is a lot of breweries will take ginger and they'll slice it up. You know, it's got the bark and everything on it and just throw it in. It's got that, I don't know what you want to call it, like bark and bite. It's not a good bite. It's not a good taste to me. A little trick with ginger, and if you want to add ginger to beer and have like an amazingly smooth but nice bite of ginger, and I mean clean tasting ginger. Take your ginger, get all the bark you can get off of it, then shred it. And I mean shred it into a pulp. Then take it, put it in cheesecloth, and squeeze pure ginger juice right out of that ginger root. Of course, make sure it's fresh ginger, otherwise it's gonna be a little funky. But squeeze it out, and then you can just go on to hack number 2, which isn't a hack, but it's something to be aware of. When you're doing fruit, and this goes for the ginger, but when you're doing fruit, don't cook it. Don't zap it in the microwave. Don't destroy the aromas and the flavor. You simply want to pasteurize it. And yes, I've told you in the past, another hack was to freeze it, let it thaw, freeze it again, let it thaw. That way you destroy the cell walls, especially in things like berries and things like that. You're gonna get more fruit out of them. Don't have to do it when you're doing zesting, who cares? But what you'll wanna do, and this is according to Homebrew Association, is just cook it at about 150 to 170 for 15 to 20 minutes. You're not looking for a boil. You just want a little simmering and you want to keep that going. Do not microwave it. Do it on the stovetop. You'll kill any bacteria, or at least the vast majority of bacteria that could be present. And then you can add it. I usually add my ginger at bottling or kegging. Your fruit, you can add wherever you desire to add it. Remember, adding it towards the end. You're either going to let it ferment off, or you're going to be dealing with some carbonation or some extra sugars that you may not have accounted for. Number 3, you brewed a beer and it's either astringent, kind of like someone squeezed a tea bag, or it has too much DMS because you didn't let it cook long enough, I don't know. Aroma of, cooked corn. Ugh. Consider adding apricot. Apricot will hide the aroma. It's got that nice floral and citrus type aroma, but the acidic flavor will actually help hide the astringency. And it may be very drinkable from being, that's nasty, to, hey, that's not bad, or that's not bad, to, hey, that's pretty damn good. So something to think of. So number 3, if you have an astringent or too much DMS in your beer, consider apricot. Either, the liquid like we did with amaretti, or any, just to get to hide the stuff. You're hiding something, so it is what it is. Number 4, and this one I kind of offended somebody on Reddit, and that was not my intention. I was kind of laughing with him, not at him. And he took it as I was laughing at him, and I'm sorry, but I follow the whole Robin Williams thing that he did on stand-up eons ago. It's easy to make fun of others, but true humor is when you can make fun of yourself, and I would rather laugh with somebody or at myself than at anyone else. It just is what it is. Unless you want me to laugh at you, then of course do something super stupid and I might laugh. But the key here is that he was saying that a lot of the brew tubers, which I like that term, like myself and others, make it look like we're just dumping the grains in. And I will say, some do, just dump the grains right in when you're mashing in. Don't do that. I try to speed it up, or sometimes I cut it out so you see me start and end and suddenly it looks like I just dumped it in. It's not the case. If I have a lot of oatmeal, a lot of wheat, I'm gonna be using those silo cups. You've seen those 16-ounce college cups. But otherwise, I'm trying to get a good stir going and I'm dumping it in as slow as I can or kind of as fast as I can without creating dough balls. But the key is take your time to make sure when you're mashing in, do it slowly, thoroughly, stir it in properly. Number 5, we're gonna kind of keep it a little theme here for a minute. When you're adding things like oatmeal, flaked wheat, flaked, anything that you know can cause a stuck mash or rye, things like that, don't add them in layers. Make sure it's mixed in with your grains. Make sure it's mixed into the entire mash, so that way that flow can flow through. As we had mentioned in the brew house efficiencies, you want the water to be able to flow through everything. And if you just layer it, you're gonna have one big old pancake of oatmeal up on top or on the bottom or wherever you stick it. At the top, you can fix it. At the bottom, you're kind of SOL. So going into number 6, this is all about keeping the grain bed and the mash going well. Rice hulls, same thing. I usually dump some in the beginning and they float up and I try to stir them in hoping they'll stick to some of the grains, and I'll add some more halfway through. The key is you want those rice hulls to be throughout the whole grain bed. If you just have a layer of rice hulls, the water's gonna go through the rice hulls and nothing else. So make sure you mix it in really well, so that way you know the rice hulls are maximizing your efficiencies and maximizing your flow is more really the correct word. So don't layer things like that. It's just not recommended. Number 7, and I didn't realize I was doing something special, and I know there's other brewers doing this. They sell these beer thieves and wine thieves, and some are really long and cool and much better than what I have, but I've been using this since pretty much the very beginning of brewing. And I just assumed it was common knowledge, but I guess not. Turkey baster. To me, it just seems to make sense. If you want to steal some liquid for tasting, you want to steal it to do a hydrometer reading, turkey baster. Just make sure you take it apart, clean it really good, star sand it, shake it out, dry it out, whatever you got to do before you use it. But turkey baster, almost everybody has one in their kitchen somewhere. It's awesome for stealing a little to taste, whatever you want to do with it. Just all around awesome tool for me. I've been using it forever. Probably use it in almost every single batch of beer, especially to do a little taste test or hydrometer readings. Just thought it was obvious. Number 8, fruit preserves or jams. Those are great for adding to beer because it's probably already sterile or sanitized, and probably has little to no bacteria, although it could have some to be aware of. So your mileage may vary. You can pasteurize it, or if you put it in a real high ABV beer, probably not gonna be an issue. But add pectic enzyme to help break down the pectin in it to help reduce haze if you're adding it to, especially to a lighter colored beer. And it's a vitamin thing, but I filled it and put a little label on it, but that's my pectic enzyme. And still kind of playing with that for certain things, but something to be aware of. This is an item that I think you've seen in the closed transfers, but I just never really thought about it. And you don't have to have duo-tight. I like the duo-tights because I can spin the whole thing around and not leak. But it's like a jumper between kegs. Have something like this just sitting around. I usually have the ends off because I'm always cleaning these and running them through cleaning. But have something like this, and you can either have an air piece on the end and use your finger, or use something like this on another keg. But what I do, now this also helps when I'm going from for like a dry hop secondary over to the final keg for actual chill and carbonation. But my son comes over all the time. I say all the time, make it sound like he's there all the time, but comes over and he brings a 1 gallon kegs that I bought him. I got him 2 of them. Now, this one's 1.75, and occasionally he takes this if he really, really wants a lot of whatever the beer is. But when he comes over, I go into my keezer, I pop the normal liquid off, put this on, plug this one into the 1 gallon, and just let it go. And I'll fill up a gallon for him, pop it off. There he goes, and off he goes with 1 gallon of pre-carbonated beer. Quick and easy, right off the 5 gallon tap. it just is super simple. And I never really thought how some people might not think of that, but you're gonna share beer and someone's got a gallon keg, just give them a gallon. It's super easy, a million times easier than bottling 10 bottles. So something to be aware of. And it doesn't have to be duo-tight. It can be whatever you have, clamps, it doesn't matter. Number 10, and okay, I'll just show you this. Duo-tight hose, it's gonna get a little curve to it. And a lot of times you'll buy hose and it's super tight and every time you pull it out, it goes, Poing. Take your hose and put it in extremely hot water. Don't try to melt it, don't boil it, just really hot water. Take it out and just kind of stretch it and pull it and tug it in the way you want it, or set it somewhere and put something on it weight-wise. It'll straighten it out. And that way you won't have it like this. So number 10, hot water to shape or straighten your hosing. And yes, shape. If it's a long hose and you want to curl it up super tight and it keeps kind of pulling apart and you've got some Velcro, you know, yeah, get it hot, leave it that way for a little while. It's not going to change shape again on you, so you'll be set. Left some things out for you to kind of peek at that we've got going on. I've got to do some videos on, and this is for next year. I'm definitely not starting that mess until next year. Don't have time for it. So like I said, I'm in Jamaica right now. I hope everybody else is having a great time and having a great holiday. Thank you again for joining us here at Bitter Reality Brewing with the top 10 tips, recommendations, suggestions, hacks, week 12. Don't forget, like, subscribe. Also, I'll try to leave links if I got time out there on these items. So thank you again and have a great holiday season.